Hey everyone, I'm the Rooster, and welcome back to Relic Arena. In this specific replay, it's going to be all about JOAN of ARC and how to build around her ability. The player that we're going to be watching is not going to be myself, it is going to be Zillalag, probably one of the best JOAN of ARC players currently, has been doing a lot of testing with that specific leader, and yeah, I thought it was fitting to showcase how he plays it. Now, when it comes to JOAN of ARC, the very important thing is what exactly does she do? What is her ability? What are you trying to play around? And well, once we get through this first part of the round here, we can have a look at the ability. So each time an allied hero falls, the selected unit is inflamed with the JOAN's Righteous Fury, gaining increased attack speed and physical lifesteal. Essentially, you are building a raid boss unit, and it gets stronger as your other allied heroes die. So it's a bit of a weird concept where you kind of want all of your other units to die, relatively quickly, and kind of use some type of upfront damage or upfront stunning or death rattle effects. And then you get all of those benefits, right, on top of your one carry. And that's the important bit. So you want your other units to die, you want your one carry units to receive all the benefits and be able to stay alive as long as possible. Now, typically, the best way to do that is, for instance, to build something like a ranger sitting safely in the backline and have that be protected by a whole bunch of defensive relics. Something like Kevlar Vest, something like the fossil, the chickens, this one, the dinosaur fossil, summoning this ring of chickens that blocks both relic and normal attacks from hitting you, and just kind of stalling overall. Because once you get to level 5, suddenly the entire board is on fire. All units take pure damage every second, except for the one selected kind of hero, the one raid boss. And yeah, you want to make sure that you can stall long enough so that this passive can also start doing a whole lot of damage. Now, early game here, relatively straightforward. Zillalag just kind of trying to build whatever is strongest. So picks up a Zulu necklace with a Philosopher's Stone. This triggers very often, but it costs a lot of mana, deals AoE damage every 3 seconds. But yeah, you do need something to kind of replenish that mana, and luckily Philosopher's Stone is very good at doing that, giving you back 35 mana every cast, and even healing 40 health. And then we've got the Pirate Flag, making sure that you have a little bit of CC. The next attack every 8 seconds deals critical damage and also stuns for 1.5 seconds. And then we have the Terracotta Army to spawn illusions of the caster, which, early on can be very useful. And we can see that Zillalag is doing great so far. Full health, manages to find a bunch of dinosaur fossils along the way, which he was banking. And yeah, now he already has a level 3 dinosaur fossil with the super that makes the chickens stun for 0.3 seconds. The third one also is quite good, the offensive flock, where for every exploded chicken, you gain plus 25 attack damage. Can be very useful later on, especially if you play something like, ranged carry, but on an assassin, it makes sense as well. Can really amp up your damage by a ton. And here, perhaps the very first loss, as he has to face a Harambe with an assassin with a lot of attack speed that takes it down pretty quickly. And here we enter round number 3. And we get a second hero. 15 gold in the bank. Probably going to be seeing a leader or a shop level up here. And the thing is, you can make a bit of a choice on JOAN. You can try and stay on shop level 2, especially with things like Dinosaur Fossil being in. If Kevlar Vest is in, those are all standard relics that you'll be able to find pretty easily. And you can play around that. So I think in this specific game, because I believe both of those relics were in, Kevlar Vest was available as well. Zillalag probably kind of happy to stay on a lower shop level, not really push for those ultimate relics, and going to go for a leader upgrade first here, giving 15% lifesteal per ally death. Now, obviously, early game, JOAN is not quite as strong because there are, well, at the very beginning, no other allies that can die. Finally, here you have 1, but of course, as the game progresses, you get more allies, up to 3 that can die, and those buffs start stacking and stacking and stacking. Another JOAN of ARC in the lobby here. Seems to be playing a ranger with a crisp blade, a dinosaur fossil, and PED for the attack speed. This is not as useful long term. You kind of want to go for the more defensive stats because you gain a bunch of attack speed in the long term, but obviously grabbing those items early and then selling them later on when you don't need them is perfectly acceptable. Interesting thing that you will be able to do later on is with the Terracotta Army, of course, the illusions do also die to the Trial by Fire, that level 5 ability, but they can carry some passive relics. So the Terracotta Army in some instances can also have the death rattle effect of the unit they copied, and we will see that, well, later in the game this actually becomes rather useful if you go for very specific builds. Now here we just have a pretty normal tank, again Philostone, Zulu Necklace, good upfront damage, Pirate Flag, and then a Hammurabi's Code just for some additional tankiness. Opponent here does have a Kevlar vest, looks pretty scary, and it doesn't necessarily look like the Ranger here will be able to get through everything. One of the builds that can also be very good on this is with the Crisp Blade. So if you happen to have the Devil's Bible in the shop, you can go for a build like that with 3 passives, Devil's Bible, Crisp Blade, Kevlar vest, or maybe even a 4th one, something like a Telescope to give you more attack range. And then what you want to do is go for that attack speed per passive relic equipped on the super when you get it. And then on the Devil's Bible, which is in, you can gain 4 relic power per 100 max mana. And this starts going crazy during a round because oftentimes, you know, your carry will be alive for quite a while. And as they steal more and more and more mana by using the Crisp Blade, their damage just amps up and up. Here, not the most interesting round, pretty early leader level up, so we now have leader level 3. Each attack lowers incoming healing by 10% for 6 seconds, which does stack up to 7 times. And yeah, we can really see that we are trying to prioritize the leader levels somewhat. Also not rolling like a ton for the items here. Of course, Dinosaur Fossil, a very good item even long term. Terracotta Army can be useful. Kevlar Vest, you know, we will want. But aside from that, you know, these other items really don't need to be upgraded necessarily. Another tank gets picked up here on round 6 as the 3rd hero is now available. And a couple rolls, nothing really showing up. Here is the Galileo's Telescope that can be useful sometimes. You get Barbed Wire, which is going to get picked up. And this is one of those items that can gel very well with the Terracotta Army, because the Terracotta Army will be taking over this relic as it is passive, and it also happens to grab the Death Rattle for this relic, where if you pick this, the closest ally hero gains the effect of this relic, and this can all bounce onto your carry as well at some point, including from all of those illusions, so it can really help making your one raid boss even harder to kill. For now, though, we lack the levels on this specific relic, so it's just kind of smooth sailing, keep on cruising. Level 3 shop has been picked up here to be able to start unlocking some ultimate relics. On JOAN, I mean, you kind of want to get to like shop level leader level 4 is very nice. That attack speed helps a ton, but you can often delay the 5th level a little bit. And especially if you want to go for those ultimate relics, it can be exceptionally nice. We do go for Guillotine here. Executes low health enemies and gives permanent health regen and max mana. Stacking items like this, including dog tags very early on, can also be a way to later on transition onto your carry. And right now, in fact, it is simply going to sit on the carry, who is going to try and make good use of this and, well, get even harder to kill. Hammurabi's Code gets picked up here. Another Dinosaur Fossil shows up. Also, dog tags, which I did mention, is going to get picked up. Would be kind of nice to keep on board, and that is exactly what Zillilag will do. Dog tags, also one of those ultimate relics that scales anytime something near it dies, gives more bonus health. And so yeah, having it equipped here is going to be useful because it's relatively early on in the game still. Round 8, not all heroes have been unlocked. And yeah, making sure that you can start stacking that. Certainly going to be useful. Already here, the Ranger doing a pretty good job. The chickens there managing to block a little bit of the damage, but that assassin slightly too hard to kill. And the Ranger from that Harambe able to keep DPSing safely. Do pick up the dinosaur fossil there as well. Another relic here, statue of David, can be used with death rattles. Now do keep in mind that this does not get copied by the illusions. It is an active relic with this death rattle. We will see another one later that does work, but this one specifically doesn't. When the caster dies, spawns a statue that throws 6 blocks. It would be a little bit crazy if that also triggered off of the illusions. But still, the death rattle alone is rather useful because, as I mentioned earlier, you are, at the end of the day, trying to, well, get your other units to die at some point. So having something that is going to be able to help out even after your units have died, always going to be relatively useful. Here is the item in question. Statue of Prometheus. This also has a death rattle effect, even though it is an active relic. And this does get copied by the illusions. And that can get relatively crazy. So the Statue of Prometheus normally throws a giant fireball at enemies, and on the death rattle launches a fireball that bounces up to 6 times. Again, this can get copied by something like the Terracotta Army or the Hourglass. Here we get our 4th hero. We already have some pretty decent items for it. I imagine that long term, the Philosopher's Stone and the Zulu Necklace might get sold. We are also picking up something like the Mammoth Fossil here, some large area of effect relics, which can be great up front and yeah, just generally useful. That type of like CC relic, like things that apply silence or break, something like the bear trap, for instance. Very good relics to pair if you want to play Joan in this fashion. And yeah, at this point, already round 10, we can see level 4 leader on Joan. Shop level just going to stay on 3 for the time being, and really trying to make sure that we do get that attack speed on the carry. And you can see that already it's starting to do relatively well. Now, up against the Clio here, though, with the Tesla coils. Luckily, not Tesla coil level 3 yet, so the attack speed is not being stolen. But that doesn't seem to matter much, as this Clio will manage to win. Still above 100 hit points, nothing too much to worry about. And honestly, most of the core items that Zillalag will want have already been picked up. So now it's mostly about trying to roll, upgrading the shop, as he did on this round number 10. And yeah, just finding more duplicates of the relics, start to getting those supers going, hopefully managing to, for instance, get those, you know, death rattle effects. And I mean, that's pretty much it. You can have a quick look here at what other people are doing, but we have a classic kind of Clio here with the Tesla coils. Harambe is a hero that I still kind of have to figure out. I haven't played it all. I don't really know too well what he does. Marie Curie, something that people have started picking up as well. And we can have a quick look again here at Zillalag, seeing how the battle goes. Again, a lot of his heroes are going to end up dying relatively quickly. But that doesn't matter much, because what really matters is how this Ranger will perform. Has to fight another Ranger, though, against this Wong Fai Hung. But it looks like the lifesteal is a little bit too much here to deal with. So very nice victory on a shop level up round. Keeping the hit points nicely topped up at above 100. And now it's just all about rolling, finding more relics, getting that guillotine, getting that Statue of Prometheus, hopefully managing to get them to level 3 relatively quickly. As I say that, there comes the guillotine. And here you probably want either the health regen or the temporary max health on kill. I think both of those are very nice to add some resilience. Looks like it'll be the health regen and the 100 max mana per stack that Zillalag goes for. As well, that is kind of a permanent buff, whereas the temporary max health kind of depends on, you know, whether you manage to execute something. Pretty big AoE effects here. And I would say that already this is looking very good for Zillalag. The Ranger not really too bothered. One of the main problems for Joan sometimes can be very assassin-heavy boards. So something like, you know, an extremely juiced boots build with an assassin kind of running into your backline, dealing a ton of damage, especially when you don't have things like Dinosaur Fossil or Kevlar Vest to help you out. It can be a bit of a problem. There's also, I mean, leaders like Genghis Khan, which kind of, you know, by default can jump into your backline. If your carry gets assassinated early, you are going to be in a world of hurt. So that's kind of why you want to also make sure that you can protect your backliner as much as possible. Mammoth Fossil here is going to get leveled up, as well as Ankh Amulet. Wondering what will get picked up here. Looks like it'll be the 50% incoming healing. And already we can see maybe a very healing heavy and health regen heavy build being set up. All of these ultimates, at some point, you can try and just move them all onto your Ranger if you feel like you don't need something like the Dinosaur Fossil or the Kevlar. And Mammoth Fossil here hasn't been picked yet. Zillalag perhaps not entirely sure of what he wants on that. Typically, I mean, the stuns might not be the worst, as increasing physical armor of teammates might not be ideal. You are, at the end of the day, kind of trying to get your units to die. And it looks like, indeed, it will be the stun that gets picked up here for Zillalag. And now, I mean, now we just roll. We try to find the things that we need. Statue David did get upgraded, by the way, of course, with the Death Rattle. And again, we're going to pick up the flag. Flag in general, very strong item. That stun is extremely useful, and you can use it on a ton of different units. I mean, obviously, can be good on something like, you know, an assassin, something that goes to the front line, but you can also use it defensively on something like a caster or a ranger, just for the stun alone. Never mind about, you know, the critical strike that the relic provides. One assassin here going to be built with Mammoth Fossil, big AoE effect, trying to get it into the backline with F1 rocket engine, but it currently doesn't have the super yet, so no unstoppable means, well, if you get CC'd right off the bat, it is going to be a bit of a problem. Has to face another Joan here, and that Joan does already have the level 5 leader ability, and looks like that is a little bit too much to deal with right now. Zillalag picks up another super there. The Barbed Wire, going to go for that Death Rattle, closest ally hero against the effect of this relic. As I mentioned before, this does get triggered as well by all of those Terracotta Army illusions. And same thing for that statue of Prometheus with the fireballs being launched. Can have a bit of a quick look here, but yeah, statue of Prometheus there, starting to do quite a bit of damage. And we'll soon be seeing how that performs on this tank once it has gone down. Got to make sure that you do spawn the illusions first, because, well, you know, just in case it doesn't end up casting, or in case you have more active relics, you do at least want to make sure that you have all of those illusions on the board, because if somehow your unit dies before they get spawned, you don't get the benefits of the entire combo that you set up. This time around, the F1 rocket engine does go into the back, but it looks like the assassin gets stunned for so long that it doesn't even manage to cast Mammoth Fossil or Boxing Gloves, for that matter. And will this be able to do enough is the question. We do see those illusions with the Barbed Wire. Some of them here are dying. The fireballs there you can even see bouncing from the illusions dying, but it's not enough. And now Zillalag finds himself down to 53 hit points. Bottom 2, as no one has been eliminated yet. I mean, round 15, it is still kind of end of the mid-game, I would say. And yeah, stabilization here, very necessary. Now, luckily, there are some power spikes to be found, either through, you know, some level 3 supers, or just through leveling the leader ability. It looks like here Zillalag is going to go for just the rolling, as he feels like he can probably find some of those supers that he needs. Going to skip the statue of Prometheus there. It's level 3, and honestly, it's the only super that you really need on this, and he kind of needs to find, yeah, other upgrades if possible. A Kevlar would be very nice. You know, maybe more dog tags, level ups. Of course, the F1 rocket engine with the 4 seconds of unstoppable, just allowing you to get, well, those other casts in. And how is this going to go? Doesn't look too great. Another loss, and Zillalag now down to 22 hit points. I mean, JOAN is a very good comeback champion, but is it going to be enough here? 22 hit points, that doesn't really leave you any breathing room, to be honest. Maybe you can survive if only one enemy lives and you lose, but in most scenarios here is you lose, you will be out of the game. One of the opponents has already been taken down, so 8th place is, well, at least not going to be something that, you know, can be taken, but ideally you do want to secure top 4. And, well, level 5 JOAN has now been picked up to give that, well, big power spike, to be honest. And, you know, there's an argument to be made here to maybe have leveled up JOAN a bit earlier. This is an extremely powerful ability, especially when you will take a look at the damage. You know, once this is active, it does go rather crazy. And yeah, we can see here, I mean, that damage, it just starts ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking. Insanely powerful. That is a bit scary. This unit here does get, you know, latched onto by an assassin, but thankfully we now have all of those defensive items onto our ranger, and Zillalag even stepping away from the dinosaur fossil and the Kevlar vest. So it's just fully defensive here. Dog tags for bonus health, guillotine for bonus HP regen, Ankh amulets for bonus incoming healing power, as well as, well, the death delay effect. And then Hammurabi's Code for even more HP regeneration as you get lower and lower on hit points. It also provides some magic armor, and then I haven't even begun to mention, right, the illusions here with that barbed wire death rattle, also possibly going onto this ranger, giving it bonus armor. So yeah, perhaps no surprise there that even though the assassin got into the back line, this ranger is not exactly easy to mess with. Level 4 shop still. Can start considering leveling it pretty soon. Only 7 gold there, but I usually also like to keep the shop level on 4 for quite a while. I feel like, you know, you have to roll for a fair amount, you know, before it starts being better to get to shop level 5 in terms of the extra slots it offers. And now suddenly Zillalag looking to be in a relatively strong position. I mean, some other competitors here are starting to get relatively low on hit points, getting close to even, you know, being out in 1 or 2 losses. And his board is looking mighty strong. It hasn't looked particularly close. The ranger seems to be unkillable, and that fire is doing a lot of work. We can have a quick look here at the statue Prometheus, but that is still doing a good amount of damage here, 1200, and a fair bit of that does come from the Terracotta Army and that Death Rattle. And it's a very neat combination. I haven't seen a ton of people play this. Obviously, Death Rattle heavy builds are probably the best on something like JOAN because, well, you're killing your own units. But yeah, it's a neat interaction. Illusions, I think, probably still underutilized or under-tested. And there's a lot of stuff that works on them. Active relics don't, typically, but, you know, some death rattles do, like with that statue. Tons of fireballs here being tossed around, as we can see. And even with 2 enemies on top of this ranger, it just seems completely unbothered by the situation. Another win. Someone gets taken out. Top 6 has been secured. And I mean, at this point, we might be able to kind of speed up a little bit here, as the only thing really that is going to be happening during the rounds is Zillalag hunting down those relics. Gets a level 6 guillotine for the temporary increased health on execution. I mean, that is simply going to make things even worse for the opponents. And yeah, it's going to take a pretty crazy build here, I think, to get rid of Zillalag in this lobby. Now, obviously, there are some very strong leaders in the game as well. Notably, Lincoln can at some point get really crazy. I mean, that Ranger in the back already has 3 Juicies. But, you know, it is not immune to the fire effect. And yeah, have a look at this. Completely crazy there. The guillotine giving the bonus health. And, of course, all that incoming healing and hit point regeneration. Oof. Very scary build. And honestly, a neat transition too, right? Early game, you kind of use things like Dinosaur Fossil, Kevlar Vest, but once you manage to find these, and if they are in the lobby, can be a worthwhile transition, right? You move them from your tank onto your Ranger, and just the combination of all of these things is a nasty concoction. Speaking of nasty concoctions, we do have Marie Curie over here kind of going a bit crazy as well. Level 9 Devil's Bible, level 9 Chris Blade, and doing rather well, you know, close to 100 hit points remaining still. So some strong competitors at the very top. We do have a Cleo here with those Tesla coil snakes. Although the rest of the build doesn't look incredibly strong. Missing some levels on the relics here and there. It seems that perhaps long term will be difficult for the Cleo to compete. We will actually get to see a fight against Cleo. And the thing is, Joan has a relatively good matchup against it, because those snakes also take a bunch of damage from the AoE from Trial by Fire. And yeah, that is a incredibly healthy carry right there. Another level gets picked up on Barbed Wire. I mean, getting the Juicy on this is relatively nice, but perhaps gonna be a bit difficult. We do have potentially level 9 Hammurabi's Code though, and level 9 Guillotine in sight, which level 9 Guillotine kills reset the cooldown. That you know, starts to get crazy. In my previous video, I had a build with it myself on a tank, and yeah, you can get over 10k hit points relatively easily if you manage to get your hands on that. Kevlar Vest here is going to be leveled up, and if you have it on an assassin, I think you definitely want to be going for the first one. The 250 bunker damage and the stun whenever it gets triggered is very useful when you get into the backline. If you're playing a ranger, you know, something like a carry, then typically it is going to be the attack damage. But in this scenario, we have F1 Rocket with the Unstoppable, with the AoE taunts and effects. And at this point, I don't know what it would take to get rid of that. You kind of need to have some way of breaking this unit to get rid of all of its passives, but it's pretty difficult to get that. One of the ways would be through that pirate flag that we saw earlier. It does have a super that allows you to break, you know, the target you're hitting, but, you know, good luck getting on top of this. You would need an assassin that somehow manages to get on top of it. And then, yeah, break it to get rid of all of those passives. And, well, aside from that, I mean, Bear Trap level 9, Board Wide, Silence, and Break, extremely powerful. And honestly, it is an item that I've started to pick up more just for, I mean, having that option available to get the Juicy, because it is insanely good, in my opinion, when you do get it. But yeah, you know, you're not going to get your hands on that immediately if you suddenly find out, like, oh no, I'm up against the Joan and they've stabilized and that build absolutely needs to get rid of the passives for me to be able to kill this. You know, you're not suddenly going to get a level 9 Bear Trap out of nowhere. Here we fight the Marie Curie. Playing a fun boat build. I did highlight that. Although the build here is ever so slightly different, as we have some ranges in there. We have a Chris Blade tank. Not quite the Tesla radio build that I like to go for. And it indeed doesn't seem to be enough. Top 4 has been secured. So a good result. Kind of, well, climbing back from near defeat. And yes, from here on out, it just seems like it'll probably be smooth sailing. Dog tags has been picked up as well. Cleanses after taking 300 damage. Lovely, right? Removing negative effects from allies. at this point, yeah, it's... I don't really see how any of these opponents are going to be getting rid of Zillalag in this lobby, and he is definitely coursing towards probably a first place. Another fight. It will be up against... Oh, I'm looking from the wrong perspective here. It is up against the Lincoln. The other JOAN of ARC actually did get taken out. And it's, again, it's a pretty good lobby, I would say, here for JOAN. All of the items that you would like on your Ranger were in, and there were no, you know, assassin-heavy builds, really. At this point, it doesn't really matter anymore, but in the early game, that especially can become a problem if you just can't find the defensive items, if... Yeah, I mean, your opponent just has a very strong build on their assassin and manages to take out your carry time and time again. You know, you can struggle to actually get to this type of point where you have a level 5 leader, a level 5 shop, all of those relics that you need. So, yeah, lobbies with a lot of Genghis Khan can be a bit of a problem. Not the case here, though. And now Zillalag in first, as all of his opponents have gone down to below 22 hit points. Everyone is now a one-shot, and this will likely be decided relatively quickly. Level 8 dog tags, level 8 guillotine, level 8 Hammurabi there. All have been picked up. Juicy's around the corner. And yeah, the other things we're working towards, perhaps level 6 supers. And I mean, here, Zilly just doing so well that I was gonna say some of his units might not end up dying. It's actually getting pretty scary, but keep in mind that the healing gets better and better thanks to Hammurabi's code as this Ranger gets low on hit points. So it looked a little bit sketchy there at first. Marie doing whatever she can, but it's not enough. 2 people get eliminated, and now it's going to be Zillalag versus Battied Banana in the finals here. And we just saw a little bit earlier how that fight between them went. A lot of juicies on this side of the board for the Lincoln, as you would expect at this stage. But Zilly, I mean, no juicies, but the leader power here and this build with all of the regen synergies might make up for it. We do get a level 9 Hammurabi's code picked up at the very end there. Zilly selling one of the relics that wasn't doing enough, and that juicy is fantastic. Returning the damage received for a short duration. I'm not sure it was necessary, but it will definitely secure the game and the victory here as JOAN and Zillalag are victorious. This also happened to be Zillalag's rank up game to General, so congratulations. And a big thanks for, well, showing me, well, you know, the way to play this. And yeah, we can see here, hopping over into General, a fantastic showcase of how to play JOAN. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about it. You know, have you been playing JOAN, enjoying it, struggling with it? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with my latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.